I guess I'm just fucking motherfucker. Sorry, guys. I don't know why my screen keeps locking. When it locks, it gets me out of the stream.
Yes, I saved the best for last. Here we go. A little, I guess maybe section. To the throwback track with me a little bit earlier. But you put a record out on it. It's big out. She was Ozzy. And it's no so we want to ask him to do a guest mix. And this feature it's good time to that. And on his own records, artists, his own record. Make out. And here we go. What's up, the audience? It's Channel here. I'm back with another guest mix. Thanks to the radio. Big Chime. Have a great day.
I'm gonna eat real quick, guys, lunch, and we should be back on the road here. But we will watch the show.
Almost a doubling. And if it takes another 3 weeks, it'll be less than 3 weeks to spring clean. You know, how many birds are out there now? But yeah, people are trying to get the weed milk. Like I say, it's more than 11 cars. But license plates beyond the 11 cars we know. But I imagine as they let more people in and expand the geofence, the next thing is going to be the number of cars that they have to increase. Yeah, I think that's what we have to keep our eye on. Okay. We talked about blocking cars, XAI, Robotaxi, $6.90. What do you guys think about that one? We raised it from 420. There was theories by connecting a dot. He thought that it's going to be a flat rate like bus zones. And if you pass more zones, you pay the same flat rate. Well, this may not be the case if they jumped it to raise it to 690. This could just be a temporary pricing strategy. They might eventually move to, but many people think it's the dollar per mile model. What's the panel here think about the pricing strategy? Yeah, this is obviously temporary pricing. 420 and 690 flat fee is obviously not a with a permanent pricing strategy. I think they kind of try to just make it the average sort of fare within the geofence. And if you can go a longer distance, it makes sense that that average price would also increase. Longer term, we're going to see them move to market-based pricing, where the pricing can adjust dynamically based on supply and demand. But right now, I think it makes sense at an introductory phase to just kind of offer this flat fee.
But if they expand yet again, wouldn't they at this point have to either raise that price or already at that point change to a per mile cost, right? Because it wouldn't make sense to charge, let's say, $12 if you're just going to go 2 miles.
As the geofence gets bigger, you're going to have pricing that's based on the length of the ride. It won't make sense to have a ride down the street be the same as a ride across town. But at the current pricing level, $420 or $690, I mean, even a ride down to the end of the street is going to cost $4 to $7 in an Uber. So, like I said, it's introductory. Obviously, they're going to move to a more sophisticated pricing scheme based on time, distance, and market conditions as they scale the service out. But, just trying to keep things in balance, right? You've got 11 cars. You want to limit the number of cars so that you can learn about all of these issues, right? In your geofence, let's say, you've now got this bigger geofence. Let's say there's some area where the car doesn't behave correctly. You want to figure that out when there's a small number of cars and less likelihood of that happening. So if you increase the geofence,
So you can see in 2025, the value of this year's earnings as a component of the current stock price is tiny. This is why I often say, I don't care what Tesla reports this quarter, next quarter, quarter after. It doesn't matter because what matters is the present value of those earnings 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years out. Nothing's perfect. And that's why so many people use PE as a shortcut. And I'll show you very clearly here in a minute why that's so bad, particularly for high growth companies. But what I want to show with this chart is it's the sum of all these blue bars that determines the present value of Tesla stock today, based on the model that we presented. Now, you may disagree with the assumptions, fine. Change the assumptions, run the model, and see what the present value is. We're going to do some of that here in a minute just to show people what some differences could be.
Tesla stock is misunderstood. And today we get the chance to speak to a Tesla retail analyst who'll share his research and break down why. This is a must-watch show for serious Tesla investors. He'll review Tesla's valuation from 3 angles: sum of the parts, PE ratio, and discounted cash flow. But here's the truth. Applying a standard PE multiple to a high-growth company like Tesla is just dumb. We'll also explore what expectations are already baked into the stock and whether the market is pricing in reality or missing the next wave entirely. The most important questions answered today. Cern Basher is a chartered financial analyst running his own investment advisory firm called Brilliant Advice, providing wealth management services. Welcome, Cern. I think you outdid yourself today. This is a big show. It's going to answer a lot of questions. And just by talking to you ahead of time, I realized there's even a few things that I thought I knew that was wrong. And you'll forgive me because it is kind of in the nuances. So thank you so much, Cern. I appreciate you taking the time to put this all together today.
Yeah, hi, Herbert. It's good to be here. We talked about this before a few months ago, and there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of complications when it comes to valuation. So let's dive a little bit deeper into that today.
Yeah, this is a big one. I really appreciate you doing this. Like I said, so this is Tesla's business valuation, and it's a waterfall. Is that what this is?
Yeah, the metaphor here is that we're going to be turning on different revenue streams, different waterfalls of cash flow.
Okay, gotcha. I can already see where your bias is of the different kinds of valuation models. So it looks like that we're going to go through business line models, some of the parts valuation. So some people, I think Dan Ives as an example, as a Tesla bull, he appreciates the sum of the parts valuation model. Total company valuation using PE. So many institutional analysts, they always cite PE ratios as the way to value a company. And then, of course, the ones I know you've really like is discounted earnings cash flow, bringing that back to present day. PE ratio valuation is dumb. You'll explain why you think that and what is the market pricing today. So once we go through all this, you'll come back and explain to you what you think the actual price of Tesla is today, right?
Yeah, and as with a lot of things that I do, we're going to kind of build this up part by part, piece by piece, and kind of get to some final conclusions towards the end. So A little bit of patience might be required here in the beginning as we just set things up.
Okay, let's go.
So as we all know, Tesla is an auto company. They make cars. So if we looked at that line of business for Tesla and just treated that as a separate company, you might come up with some kind of valuation methodology like this. Now, again, what I'm showing here is a very, very shortcut approach. You could get into a lot of detail about each vehicle model, the pricing of each, the margins on each, and all those different factors. But I'm just trying to distill this into something that's manageable for this show. Okay. So if we look at the number of years on the leftmost column, we've got 6 years of history there, right? And it shows the number of EVs delivered there in the second column. And then everything from 2025 on is projected, that's in green. And so if we make some projections about how many vehicles Tesla makes, let's say 1.75 million this year, 2 million next year, 3 million, et cetera. Now, I realize that people can quibble with these numbers. I'm not presenting these as my strongly held guesses in terms of how many vehicles Tesla's going to deliver, but just as inputs into a model to be able to show people what the impact on valuation is. You can see the annual growth rate there in the third column. So after a couple of years of flat to no growth in 24 and 25, we're expecting in 26 a resumption of EV delivery growth. And we're expecting a couple of really strong years in 27 and 2028. You make some estimate for average selling price, you get to then the revenue line at the next column. And then you make some estimate for what you think the profit margin might be. And again, I've just kind of done this very simply, starting at 15% and growing it to 20% over time. This is net profit, not gross profit. This is net. This is after all expenses. And then you get to the net profit in dollars. So we're looking at about $11 billion of profit from the auto business, perhaps in 2025, and growing up to about $87 billion by 2035. Now, what's typically done here when you get these numbers is people apply a PE ratio to it. And how do they arrive at the PE? Well, they look at comparable companies. What are other auto companies getting as far as the PE? And you might say, okay, Tesla is similar to those companies in these ways, but it's very dissimilar in these other ways. Therefore, I think the PE should be higher for X, Y, Z reasons. And so if you say, well, there's going to be a lot of growth in future years, Tesla's kind of going through a little bit of a dip right now. Let's give them a higher PE than what would normally be warranted by looking at the auto industry. And if we applied a PE of 50 to the auto business, you would get to a current valuation today of about half a $1 trillion, 538 billion. Now, some people might not be as charitable as I would be there. They may say, well, no, the PE should be 25. In that case, it might be 250 billion valuation on the auto business. So when you use the PE ratio, you get to a point where you can kind of drive a bus through the different numbers. The numbers can be so different depending on what assumptions you make about what the appropriate PE ratio is. Now, what I did in this model was bring the PE down so that by 2035, I'm using a ratio of just 15. And at that point, I get an auto business line valuation of about $1.3 trillion if they're making 14 million vehicles, selling 14 million vehicles at that point in time. So that's sort of a method that you would use to build up a valuation for a business line. Again, you can make this way more complicated than what I've done here. I wanted to show this just kind of on one page. The right way to do this would be to build it up by every single product in every single country and every single market and build up the model on that basis. But that becomes very complicated very quickly.
Yeah, I know you said that the PE ratio is so variable and it impacts it basically whatever you decide the PE ratio is supposed to be, that comes to your market value. But if you just look at this, so 538 billion, let's assume that that's about 50% of the current valuation of Tesla at around $1 trillion. So instead of $310 of the stock price, it should be half of that, so $150. So that's really what with the auto part, because it could be valued at as $150 of the 300 plus is auto, and that's because of that, and using a PE ratio of 50. And again, who's to say that that is the right PE ratio, but that's based on the current numbers.
Yeah, it depends how you felt about the other parts of Tesla's business, and we'll get to those in a minute. But if you were optimistic about autos, let's say you didn't think that Robotaxi was going to happen. Let's say you think that's just going to be a dud. But you do think that the full self-driving software will be something that Tesla licenses or something like that. Then you might say, well, the auto business actually does have a pretty bright future. Now, I realize that those two statements are a bit incongruent. If Robotaxi doesn't work, then probably FSD is not going to be licensed by anybody. But you could have different points of view in terms of where you see Tesla's auto business growing. And there could be a significant software component to the auto business that could be reflected in these numbers, right? And so for that reason, you might say, yeah, I'm willing to assign a relatively high PE today because I think the margins will improve and I think the growth will improve over time.
But on the other side, the people who say that it's already built in, the potential growth of robotaxi and robots, it's already built in because of the stock prices at 300, but the auto business is only valued at 150. You already built in some value to potential future.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a minute when we start looking at some of the parts.
Sounds good.
So the next one we can take a look at is Semi, and this is a new model. I just built this, and this is a new business line within auto, and I built it separately because I think that could look a little bit differently. So these are some very rough numbers in terms of Semi production and sales. Basically, producing 20 this year. I don't know the number. It might be more than that on their pilot production line. But as they start to ramp up the factory next year, which is supposed to have a 50,000 truck capacity, I put 5,000 in for next year, and then from there it ramps up to capacity, and then I've also assumed that they'll build another factory at some point and increase capacity over a period of time. And so you make assumptions again for the average selling price, starting at about $280,000 per truck, going down to about 200 over time, and you get to revenue by 2035 of about $24 billion. Let's say they have a 30% net margin, which if you include the autonomy part of Semi, I think those are reasonable numbers, right? These Semi trucks will be autonomous vehicles as well. So there's a big software component to this business line, and I get to net profit of about $7 billion by 2035, and a business value of, let's say, 100 to 110 billion. So again, really rough numbers. I could easily make a case for much higher numbers than these, but this is a good start.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
this Semi alone will hit the $100 billion valuation, which is, where we're at now. It's not where we're at now, but
No, it's not where we're at now. The
significant.
valuation of Semi would be pretty small based on it because there's no revenue, there's no earnings, or very little.
Yeah.
So the valuation on a PE basis would be little. And again, this is another example why, as we've teased in the beginning, that PE ratio isn't so good because it doesn't really factor in future potential.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a business with no revenue and no profit, you can apply a PE of 1,000 to that, and you still get a business value of 0.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have to look beyond sort of the current year to say, okay, what could this business look like, and then discount those earnings back, and that's what we'll do in a minute. Okay, so the next business line is an existing one, service and other. This is supercharging. This is the service business, maintenance for vehicles, and so on. And so I get a business value here in 2035 of about 150 billion on earnings of about $10 billion with a PE of 15. And again, there's a lot of different assumptions that go into this in terms of the growth of supercharging. Supercharging growth will relate a lot to what your expectations are for Robotaxi. So I've tried to be very conservative here with those numbers, but this is also a pretty attractive business, just on a standalone basis. And
Hi guys, we're going.
You're almost at the show for first. Let's do a little throwback. Please. I'm sure I'll try to do that now. A little throwback. Records I look back on, I'm proud of. And yeah, I'm obviously proud of the records, but again, it's one thing again, it made a show. Just to remind myself. A lot has happened. And one of my favorite records that I put on is a record with JMV. It's not an artist, JMV, I should say. It's called Problems featuring John Kay. It's been in my set for a long time. It's special. It's like a gospel type record. Yeah, play for guys. That's a throwback record. Yeah, we'll throwback. This is Don Diablo and JLV Problems featuring John K. We got problems we don't need to solve. We'll just leave them all behind. Live our lives till we find where we belong. We all got problems we don't need. You know, we like we just ain't good enough. We all got we don't need. Just leave. Three. There's nothing we can do.
This is Rob. Hello. Yes. I'm right in front of you. Are you in a black shirt? Oh, I thought you were because there's guys on the phone. I'm in Tower 3 on the other side. I'm assuming where the pool's at. Yeah, because that's where the pin's dropped on this side, I think. I mean, that's where I'm. Let me see here. If I go from Kavala. I think you can go through doors, like where this elevator's at. It does say ground 3. That's interesting. But yeah, but I'm on the pool side. Sounds good. I'm confused where he's at. Right? Oh, he's on the fucking other side. Oh, I think I know where he's at. Uh,
Don Diablo and JLV Problems featuring John K. And it's now time for the demo next record of the week. We are sort of halfway to show. This week we've got a record by Cadet. He's 24 years old. He's from Brazil. His real name is Samuel. What inspires him as an artist is the way music is interpreted and performed in such a way that it makes him feel in perfect harmony with vibrations. His opinions sound like bright and happy colors. Being part of electronic
hey guys.
makes him
Sorry about that. The map was like saying you were in front of the building.
his first contact.
Yeah, that's weird because you can see
24 years
Right.
old.
on
I
me
think this is
right here, so it's very odd.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It's weird.
It's all
Here
right.
we go, Samuel. You have the demo track of the week. This one's called Citadel.
We're not going.
Let's go next.
I know you guys are. It's too hot outside.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not used to it.
This week's demo day track comes from Jeanette, and it's called Citadel.
But my ankles are tired from standing and dancing all night.
Why not?
Ankle.
That's sad. That dude's like, I'm gonna be a while.
Yeah.
Drink in hand. It's funny that we're Ubering to like the place I walked to the other night. But
100-degree.
yeah, it wasn't 100 degrees, so
100 compared to 80 at night. Yeah.
right. Although what's funny is, I mean, you know, I live in Atlanta. They're in Sacramento, and I arrived on Friday, and it was like, okay, it's humid. What the hell?
Because we just had a big rainstorm
Right.
down south.
Right. It felt very much like Atlanta. It's like, okay, it's in the 80s and 90s and humid. Like, feels like home. I've not felt the dry heat yet, except for I guess today.
Today,
Yeah.
you're like shit.
Yeah. But in the shade, it's nice
Yeah, in the shades.
for sure.
And in the pool.
Yes. Well, if we are in the pool,
Yes, 13.
yeah. Well, it sounds like if we're in the pool, what, around like 3 or 4, then it'll be shaded in that one spot too.
Yeah.
We don't have to stop. We don't have to keep reapplying sunscreen. A lot of the lights in Vegas seem to take a long time.
Yeah, they're not. They don't have sensors
So they're kind
for
of
their
timer.
time.
Yeah,
Some areas have sensors and time,
I gotcha.
but in the sense of everywhere that we're used to, like,
This is where you keep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did we come to the Hofstra house?
yeah.
Is that before y'all were vegan?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, interesting. Hmm? What'd you say? Yes, it's stop sign.
At least it's only one way.
Right. That makes it easier. You just have to navigate
Yeah.
5 lanes.
5 lanes, yeah.
So, thank
Alright,
you very much.
You guys are welcome. Push your button to get out. You guys are good to go. The button.
Which one? Oh, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, I can go left here? No, really? Let's see how this gets out of it. All right. All right.
Yes, I saved the best for last. Here we go. A little, I guess makes sense. GLV. So they throwback track with me a little bit earlier, but he put a record out on it. Like, it's called Make Out. It features Ozzy, and it's no record. So we wanted to ask him to do a guest mix. And I guess feature gay aces later. Raging, it's good times ahead. And then on his own records, posted his own record. Make Out. And then, here we go. What's up, Hexagonians? It's Chelsea here. I'm back with another guest mix on Hexagon Radio. I hope you enjoy. Have a great day.
Yes, Daryl, let's go.
Let's see it. Big time. Is this your car?
Yes, sir.
You like it?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Never going back to gas.
Awesome.
Well, I haven't driven gas in like 5 years, actually. 4 years, 5 years.
Can you make it from here to LA?
Yes.
Nobody
Well, it depends on where in LA, though.
Yeah.
But it can get into the general vicinity of LA. I can get to here to Disneyland on one charge, which is about 200 and something miles.
You have the self drive.
It's doing it now.
No.
It's been doing it the whole time since you got in the car.
You lie. Look, it's doing the self drive. So we were asking the other driver. So if you close your eyes,
It'll
stop.
know. Yeah, it'll beep at me and warn me to open them up.
So you can't go to sleep.
Not yet. I say by the end of the year.
Wow,
Unsupervised will probably be here by the end of the year,
that's awesome.
which means I can be in the back seat. And probably in certain areas, I'm assuming, and then kind of expand the. It's like a geofence, I would say, but
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
That makes sense, though.
But as I said, I could be wrong, but it's pretty good.
Now, what it's doing self-drive right now.
Yes, I'll tell you if I take over.
Okay, so it knows where it's going.
Yeah.
And it's gonna go there.
Yep.
And you don't have to do anything.
Nope.
Let's see. That's awesome.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. Now, if you started, like, if you were texting or whatever, would it?
It will know because the camera here sees me, like where my fingers at. That it will tell me, oh, you now have the attention monitoring. I don't have to touch the wheel anymore.
Great. So now you would be willing to let your girlfriend drive.
My wife does never drives anyways when I'm around her. She's passenger princess.
Do you charge at home or do you use chargers?
So I charge majority of the time. Obviously, if I go on a road trip, then I have to use a supercharger. I went from here to SFO. I only had to charge twice, and I was like 500, 600 miles or something like that on a road trip. And I didn't do anything. I put my seat all the way back and just relaxed and lounged in the car.
That's insane. That's awesome.
I kinda-
Just drive it. Just go away.
Yes, I don't know how people drive gas. I just don't. I don't see that economics anymore in it. That's technology between 15, 20 years ago in the car. Now, we really into that shit. Barely. So, electric vehicles. Got more torque, more power. Uh, we're just getting better and better. Technology getting better. It's getting better. It just seems like combustion engines are just at standstill. That's obviously not what we want as a society. We want it to be more technological, advanced, and make our lives much more easier. It's painful, but you're going to happen sooner than people think. here in Tesla in Austin, you'll see a whole bunch of videos about nobody in the driver's passenger seat. But that's just as a precautionary for not for rolling out a new program and new software and hardware. And I predict that the safety guard will be out of there by the end of the year, and then it'll just be nobody in the car, with you guys in the back seat taking you from point A to point B in a geometry or parameters around the cities.
Are there limitations around if there's inclement weather, if it's like raining or whatever, you have to go to manual?
Nope, it does it in the rain. Just like us humans, right? We slow down, we be more precautious. It's the same concept.
When you bought this one, was it
No, I got that same thing. They were doing some specials, and they actually emailed and said, "Hey, do you want to buy another one?" And I was like, "Well, I have 5 phones out. I mean, give me another one. Um, Trading in my car, I'll do it." There was a game that I was like, "Okay." So I got this one. The whole amount of full drive that I know about was $50,000. I think with everything included, and I put down my brand, so $53,000 loan. And that was at 1.9. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to get a couple less than that. It is really good. I think the interest on the whole loan, I think it's like a couple $1,000. If I had to take a guess, I just don't remember. I know it's not that much.
so you got self drive for
All of them, yes.
so the guy, either whoever they use your car with this. Do they utilize self-drive
All the time.
let them do what they do?
I prefer it. I mean, why work harder and mental strain yourself and be stressed out when I can just have the car do all the work and just want to spin the car. Very rare. Kind of like a little bit of complicated area. The car might not know it or better. They'll take over. I would say it's like 35% of my car. Stuff like this and all the cars. They except early in the mornings they do on the street. It's super early in the morning. They shut down rain and stuff. So
So when you work now, are you try to work days or nights?
I work. Yesterday I took a little bit early time off, but I usually work day in and I usually work 16 hours today.
60.
Yeah.
Is this like a full time
No,
job for you?
Yeah. just a side hustle for my side businesses.
Yeah, we're having 15-minute meetings about on the BX jam feed before we close up the show. We'll catch you guys. Hopefully.
Like you still whatever.
Build myself started. You heard the beat.
Se manda al despacho y el despacho ya no alcanza a moverlo. O sea, ya está, güey. O sea, ya está el pago, ya está cubierto, ya está. Ya es que lo mueves a través de un despacho para que lo hagan bien. Para que salga bien, sin pedo. Este, entonces, bueno, es un 400 lo que cae. Es un 400. Cae a las 11 de la mañana, 12. Le dije a Nacho en la mañana, ay, pinche muchacho, si no me estás entendiendo, ya se viene para acá por ahí. Dice, ¿qué pasa para el próximo plan? No, pues ya me quedé esperando, pero me toca, ya no se movió. Este, Dios, la que Dios. Me conviene más meter la otra, porque la de 48 trae la descarga, que tarda un chingo en descargar. Pero si me la llevo, no tengo que llevar a Irapuato o a Salamanca, que la traigan, y eso tarda bien. La que quieras. Sí, ya compensas. Sí, sí, sí. Ahí está. ¿Con esta ahorita o hasta la noche? Sí, sí. ¿Y hasta mañana la de 102? ¿No crees que te hace meter las dos para que se vayan pensando? Está bien, está de producción.